Thank you. Wow, that was such a stretch, but thank you so much, Bob. It's a pleasure to be back, and it's just great to be back in Arizona, especially this time of year when everybody else is suffering with the weather. Look what we have. It's why we live here, isn't it? One of the reasons. The other reason, Mesa Morning Live, let's be honest. So without further ado, well, we've got a really full show today. We kind of moved some of the pieces around to make everything fit. Don't worry, we know what we're doing. We're professionals, or at least we try and fake it once a month. And Channel 11 always makes it work and makes it look like a real TV show. We'd like to thank our behind-the-scenes sponsors, including Alpha Graphics, Gateway Bank, East Valley Tribune, Yvonne Martinez Photography, Cobblestone Auto Spa, and Crescent Crown Distributing, our great hosts for this great event. So thanks to all them. And breakfast this morning was provided by What the Hell Bar and Grill. Was that good? Good stuff. You know, I don't think there's really a lot of problems in the world that biscuits and gravy and bacon can't take care of. Don't you agree? And I love the What the Hell Bar. Where is What the Hell Bar and Grill?
Main Street.
Main Street?
Yeah.
Look at the guy. When you start talking about bars, Dave Barnes knows where they all are. Thanks for being there, Dave. Don't forget your bags. You'll get those on your way out. Those are bags provided by the chamber and all the people that make donations from their business. It's a nice little goodie bag. If you'd like to have your business represented in the goodie bag, make sure you stop and talk to anybody at the desk on the way out. You will notice today that our tabletops in the back of the room are all chamber member nonprofit organizations. The chamber has provided complimentary tabletop space to learn more about the hard work they do to serve Mesa and the greater Mesa area and the whole state of Arizona. So thanks to all the nonprofits located at the back of the room, and stop on your way out and visit with those. I forgot to mention, but let's talk about it now. Now would be a great time to silence your cell phone as a courtesy to those around you and the folks on stage. It's just better if the phone doesn't go off. If your phone does go off, we'll do what we always do. We'll consider that a $20 donation to the United Food Bank. So that seems to be an incentive to turn your phone off. So thank you so much for that. Hey, we got a lot of stuff to do. Let's get started. Our first segment is sponsored by Gateway Bank, who just last week celebrated their 10th anniversary in business. They are a community bank that wants to earn the opportunity to do business with you. So make sure you stop. Where are the Gateway Bank folks? All right, well, they're here somewhere. They're incognito, but they're here. So make sure you give Gateway Bank an opportunity to earn your business. Today they would like to present from Save the Family. Please welcome and joining me to the stage, Jackie Taylor. Jackie, come on up. How are you, Jackie? Welcome back.
Thank you.
I know you've been here before. Thanks for coming back. Tell us a little bit about the history of Save the Family and what you guys are up to.
Very rich history. Born in Arizona, 1988. So we are celebrating our 30th anniversary, believe it or not. And over the years have really stayed true to our mission, which is to work with homeless families and families in poverty. So our mission statement is to equip families to address poverty, overcome homelessness, and achieve self-sufficiency. We started with just 4 units of housing back in the old days, and served about 20 families a year. Today we're on target this fiscal year to serve approximately 700 families.
Wow, what a that is a lot of growth, and unfortunately there's that demand.
Sadly, that is true, and it's not enough. We have many, many families. It grieves me, that it should grieve all of us, that any child would be subjected to inhabitable conditions, not have a place to lay their head at night. And we have approximately 50 families, new families a week, falling into poverty and homelessness.
Wow, 50 a week. So although 700 seems like a large number, it's not nearly enough.
Absolutely.
What can we, as the audience here and those watching at home, what can we do to help you with that?
Truly on a small scale, but not so small scale, find the nonprofit that you can be passionate about, find the cause that you believe in, and support it. That is pivotal. None of us, and I see many of my beautiful nonprofit partners in this room, We are the safety net in this community. And none of us could do this work without the support of our public, our community. It takes a village, you know? We are the village. But on a broader level, please advocate for affordable housing, the construction of affordable housing. Arizona ranks 49th in the nation for lack of affordable housing. And when you think about it, what's the pivotal difference between homeless families and housed families? Housing. When you further think about it, housing is everything. It's health care, it's keeping your kids in school, having a place where you can come together as a family and form values as a family. It's job stability. It's getting a job. You can't get a job without a place to live. So please get active, fire up your heart, and get involved where you can make a difference.
49th, that's sad. You know, it would be nice whenever we hear about these statistics in Arizona, it'd be nice to be up in the 30s sometime.
For something good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, we live in such a great place, but boy, we sure could use some help there.
I agree.
What do you see as the future? I know you talked about numbers-wise for the upcoming year. What's the future for Save the Family?
You know, we continue to advocate for affordable housing, and we hope to continue to develop that as opportunities present itself. One of the most recent projects that we've been working on is in partnership with the city of Tempe, and the project is called Valor on 8th, and we will be actually having our ribbon cutting on February 23rd. The beautiful and rather special facet of this development is it preferences veterans, specifically female veterans with children, for affordable housing. And we are just on fire for that cause. Homeless females, veterans, let me rephrase that, female veterans are much more likely than their male counterparts to experience homelessness. And it makes sense. They have children, the children generally, they have to provide child care and all the expenses that go with raising a family. So we're just fired up for this project, and we need more of those kinds of developments throughout our entire region.
That's great. What I can't let you go without finding out. You know, we have a pretty thorough investigative team here at Mesa Morning Live, and we did a little research on you. Well, we can't talk about some of this, but
I've matured.
Well, that was funnier than what I was going to say. Now, we understand that you once sang at the Vatican.
Yes, I am a closet alto in my church choir. By no means, you know, a soloist, but we had the opportunity to tour various cities in Europe, and we did go to the Vatican. I'm not Catholic, I'm a good old Methodist girl, but I will tell you, it thrilled my heart to be there. It was a pivotal life experience.
Well, that's awesome. So they asked you to sing there, because when I sang there, they asked me to leave.
I'm sorry. As I said, I'm not a soloist.
Oh, that's cool. That had to be a great experience.
It was great.
So do you put that on your resume, a Vatican singer?
I should. Don't you think it's good for something?
I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think karaoke night at the Vatican is Thursday.
I will look that up.
It's awesome. That's great. Well, we thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for, does anybody have a quick question for Jackie? And you know what? Do you have a web presence? How can people, other than talk to you after Mesa Morning Live, how can people get a hold of you? Should they find you online, go to your physical address? Not your personal one, but...
Well, that's okay, too. I'm an open book.
See you at the Vatican?
Oh, you can see me at the Vatican. If you paid the trip, I'll go. But yes, www.savethefamily.org, or you can drop by our place and see us any day. Stay posted. We're having a ribbon cutting for our community conference center, which is between Mesa United Way and the Save the Family headquarters. And our mayor is going to be presenting at that. So please stay tuned for that.
That's all. Now, when you say stop by, where are you located?
We are at 125 East University. We're right close to Mesa United Way.
Okay, so
on University Drive.
This should have helped for everybody.
My sign language.
You know what, you said, this is just how goofy my brain works. Earlier on, you said we were born in Arizona, and every time I hear that phrase, born in Arizona, anybody else think of that old Steve Martin, King Tut song? Probably just me. Remember that, born in Arizona, moved to Babylonia, King Tut? We'll show that video next month. It'll be hilarious. Jackie, thanks so much for not only stopping by today, but for all you do.
Thank
and
you so much.
I hope that through the goodwill of Mesa and the great state of Arizona, we'll work you out of a job. It would be great not to need you.
I would love it.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
Big round of applause, Jackie Taylor. This is going to be very fun. You know, a lot of times I'm on the road. I can't make Mesa Morning Live. And when I can't, we go to an unbelievable substitute. This guy, I guess he's got a lot of free time being the mayor of Mesa. But he's going to be our next guest. SRP is today's show sponsor, and they have generously donated their time on stage so we can have two very special guests in their place. Please put your hands together and welcome the mayors of Mesa, Arizona and Yuma, Arizona. Please welcome John Giles and Douglas Nichols.
Morning.
Mayor Nichols, good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Giles,
Sir,
always good to see you.
Glad you could make it today.
Yeah.
I know how busy you are.
He comes out swinging, man. I love, and we are going to do a day where I take his place. We're going to make Mesa great again.
Come on down. All right.
No, I think you've done a nice job of that. Well, welcome. Good to have you here. You're a frequent flyer here. You're here all the time. Welcome. I believe this is your first meeting of Mesa, Arizona.
Yes, it is.
I'm so excited I can't even talk. of Mesa Morning Live. Welcome, and tell us what's going on in Yuma.
There's a lot going on in Yuma. How long is your show?
I got a couple of minutes.
A couple minutes? Wow. Well, for that point, then I'll just try to condense it down. We've been growing fairly fast. Our industry has been expanding in a lot of different areas. We're named in the top 25 communities or cities in the country by USA Today as one of the fastest growing jobs in a city for 2017. So things are moving. Things are moving in a great direction. We've redeveloped our downtown. We've got a lot of vitality on our university and higher education front. So things are very active right now.
That's awesome. Give us a little background on yourself. Where you from, and did you go to school, all that kind of good stuff?
Sure. I was born in New Jersey, because you can tell by the accent.
Of course.
And I grew up in Yuma. So I lived in Yuma, went to Yuma High. Criminals, if there's any criminals there. Thank you very much. I knew there'd be at least one.
We have a long list of criminals here.
Different kind of criminals. This is another USA Today thing, but we get Yuma High criminals is a long tradition in Yuma. But I attended Arizona State University. I actually lived in Mesa for about 2 years until my wife and I returned to Yuma in 1999. And I have an engineering company there in Yuma, and we do civil engineering around the state in California. And I just got reelected in my second term as mayor of Yuma.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Big round of applause. Mayor Giles, man, Mesa is in the news a lot. Tell us what's going on in Mesa. Tell us about the Mesa Industry and Defense Council and how that came about and where it's going.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about the Mesa Industry and Defense Council. This is actually an idea that the genesis of this goes to Senator John McCain. Senator McCain, as you might expect, is very familiar with the Mesa economy and some of the major employers here, and he made a brilliant observation, which is that Mesa has really more than its share of large defense contractors. Boeing, MD Helicopter, Orbital, you know, a lot. If you could really fill the room, as we have this morning, with folks that have jobs that are tied to the defense industry and to major industries. So he made the suggestion to our great chamber president, Sally, that maybe we ought to focus some attention on that and provide some additional resources, and that would be a good way to market, help them in ways such as taking trips to Yuma to explore potential partnerships with the Yuma Proving Grounds. So it's like I say, sometimes it takes somebody like Senator McCain to come to Mesa and see the obvious, which is, did you guys realize that this is a particularly strong part of your community that you ought to maybe organize a little better? And kudos to the chamber for responding to that suggestion.
Well, I hear, I mean, it's maybe the reason no one ever thought about it before is there's never been anything like this. This is unique to the country.
No, yeah, as far as we know, this is the only city that has something like this, where we focus on that in particular industry, on the defense contractor industry, and do what we can to encourage and support them.
That's great. Well, you know what, I think a lot of this is, the genesis was Senator McCain, but thanks for spearheading this and being the mayor that makes it all happen. So tell us a little bit about the proving grounds in Yuma.
Sure. So Yuma has two military installations, the Marine Corps Air Station Yuma, and then the U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground. So focusing on the Proving Ground, that's the mission of the Proving Ground, is to test anything that our warfighters need in the field. So from the stitching on boots to tanks to munitions, all get tested at the Army facility there in Yuma. There's 2,500 roughly employees. A third of them are Department of Defense and or military, and then the 2/3 are contractors. And they run through a series of different type of environmental tests. And the Proving Ground actually extends to Alaska and all the way down to Panama in Central America for the different weather testing. So obviously, they're in Yuma, particularly for the hot weather testing. So the summer is our busiest time of year. Yet the environment, the dusty environment, emulates a lot of the theaters that our men and women have been fighting in the last 20 years. So we spend a lot of time in those testing environments. Matter of fact, they've built a facility that's a replica of a town so that they can test whether it's working dogs or how vehicles can navigate through a community, all within the facility. The Proving Grounds is very, very large. You can fire any munition except for an ICBM, and it would stay within the confines of the Proving Grounds. It's larger than the state of Rhode Island. It has restricted airspace to 2,000 miles, so it's essentially restricted airspace. You can't fly over it and without all sorts of permissions and such. So that gives us an opportunity to do a lot of amazing things. You know, currently, a lot of the industry going, everyone's talking about drones. We've been talking about drones since the 50s. It's just the rest of the world's catching up. That's been spearheaded out at YPG since the 50s. GPS, everyone's got that on their phones. That was tested and ran through the paces during the 70s out at YPG. So there's this natural connection between what's happening here in Mesa with the defense industry and in Yuma Proving Grounds. We have the ability with the manufacturing here in Mesa and the testing in Yuma to have kind of everything being taken care of for the defense industry in the state of Arizona. And I think that's best for everybody. It keeps the business here, it creates a stronger relationship statewide, and we'll be more responsive because there is quite a bit, as you can imagine. You send something out in the field for our military to use, maybe they find something they want to tweak, it's got to go back through the same process. Well, if we're right next to the manufacturing, there's that ability to say, okay, let's tweak this, see how it tested out, and get right back to it within a day, as opposed to dragging it all the way over to Maryland or wherever it's going to go for testing.
Well, that's awesome. Now I know Sally's put together a trip. There's going to be like a field trip coming from Mesa to Yuma. What's going on with that? Yes,
basically this is kind of the take the industry experts here in Mesa and bring them to Yuma to show what the assets we have. The assets in Yuma are extensive, but it's one of those things it's not like going to a city where we're all in one spot and you can see everything going on. So this is the ability to open up the facility, get tours, see where we blow things up, see where we test this, and there's a lot of blowing things up at YPG.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is kind of the fun part of the job.
Except for a guy from Jersey, come on.
Right, I mean, who doesn't want to blow things up? And so it'll be that ability to help establish those relationships, see where the synergies exist that we can work together, keep business in the state, and hopefully grow the industry, not just keep it here, but let's grow it.
Yeah. That's great. Now, Mayor Giles, what's kind Kind of shifting gears a little bit back to Mesa. What's 2018 look like for the great city of Mesa?
Well, you know, when the economy is good, mayors look really good. And so the outlook for 2018 is great. Mesa, much like Yuma, Mesa continues to grow at a really fast pace. A couple of months ago, with the new census figures, Mesa moved from 38th largest to 36th largest city in the United States. That we're 500,000 people. We're actually at 485, but I tell people when the Cubs are playing a spring training game, we're 500,000 people.
That's right.
And so, and a lot of that growth, you know, is the folks that are involved in the defense industry, but there's a lot of other industries that are doing very, very well in Mesa. And we're at the State of the City. I guess I could plug that if you don't mind. It's going to be February the 6th. Tuesday. Love to have everyone come out to that. We'll talk for 50 minutes about all the good things that have happened and are about to happen in the city of Mesa.
Where is that? I know it's February 6th. Where is that?
It's going to be at the convention center. The chamber is registering people, so I would encourage you to go to the chamber website to purchase tickets to come to that. And it will be shown on Channel 11 and then rebroadcast and also on Facebook Live.
That's great. So is it one of the highlights? Now, be honest, when you get to come and sit behind the desk here, is this fun for you?
You know, it is fun, absolutely. The Chamber is a great organization, and the people that come out to this event are a lot of fun. The people that come to the Chamber events, they're here because they want to network, and they want to interact, and they care about the community. So I really enjoy being involved with this event and anything the Chamber does.
Well, you do a great job of that. Yes, sir.
I didn't know we were at the plugging stage, so there's something I'd like to plug. So if that's okay?
Yes.
Are we okay with that? All right.
Sure.
So speaking of, thank you very much.
You know, Mayor Johns slips me a 20 before the show.
Yeah, he gets paid a lot more.
Doug's good for it.
Put it on his account. So February 3rd.
He is from Jersey. Go ahead.
February 3rd, Yuma Proving Grounds is celebrating its 75th anniversary. It started in 1943 during World War II and it has been in operation since. Its mission's changed and it's grown. And there's a lot of mystery, even to those that live in Yuma. What is going on? We call it the big guns because they got these really big cannons that sit at the entrance. What's going on behind the big guns? And so they're opening up the doors, except for a few little minor projects they can't talk about or even acknowledge they exist. But they're going to show us everything that's going on, what they're blowing up and how they're blowing it up, what they're testing, all the free fall school, which all the special forces go through. You'll be able to see some of that. You'll be able to see.
Wait a minute, don't gloss over that. What's the free fall school?
It is essentially a 16-foot diameter wind tunnel that is indoors, and anyone who goes through special forces, they go through the regular parachute training, but then they come to the free fall school at the proving ground, and they do night training, so they turn off all the lights. They do the high-low training, the high altitude, low opening, and they go through all this training so they can, I don't know if you've seen those, I forget the name of the company, but they've got the wind tunnel where you can go and you can pay $100 and you can fly.
They have one here, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's exactly the same technology, and these men and women, when they graduate from the program, they can do all those crazy flips and sits, and they spend weeks just training on how to fall correctly.
Wow. And have you done that?
I have. It is, the 2 minutes you're in there, it feels like an hour. It's a lot of work.
So kind of like being on this show.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. A little bit like that.
You don't have to heat it up, and he hit it out of the park.
There you go.
We've worked together before. I don't know if you've noticed.
There's usually a drummer over here.
That's awesome. So
and there's a lot of different elements of the proving grounds like that are not really publicly and widely known, but there are opportunities for private industry to get engaged in their own private testing. We do testing not just for the U.S. military, but for NATO, for the UN, and for governments all over the world come to Yuma for that testing. And private industries out there, NASA's out there. We have a lot of opportunity and a lot of things. So this is an opportunity on February 3rd. Again, back to my plug. I get my $20 worth.
Sure.
To open the doors, see the stats, understand what's going on, have a kind of a celebration of the success and the support that they provide for our warfighters.
As a pure tourism plug, why should the people in this part of Arizona visit Yuma? What's some fun stuff to do out there?
Well, we have a river. It's called the Colorado River. I don't know if you've heard about that one. So we've got great river activities, hiking. I don't know if you've noticed on a map, we're really, really close to Mexico. You can take a day trip into Mexico. We've got some of the best food in the state. I will jump out on that limb. There was some different, someone said, oh, there's one great Mexican food restaurant in Yuma. I said, one? There's just a lot. We have different events. We have Midnight at the Oasis is a 1,000-car show in March that every car is before 1976. So it's a great muscle car show. We do January, the end of this month. If you're a marathoner or half marathoner or thought about doing it, it's the flattest course that qualifies you for the Boston Marathon. We've got just a lot of events. If you go to visityuma.com, you'll see just a calendar of events packed top to bottom.
That's awesome. I think we might have time for, anybody got a quick question for either one of the mayors? When was the last time you got a couple of mayors from high-powered places like Yuma and Mesa together? So, anybody got a question? And by the way, I'd like to thank you for replacing that Steve Martin song in my head.
Great.
With Midnight at the Oasis.
There you go.
Now I have that song rattling around in my noggin. Anybody got a question? Going once, going twice? If you don't, I'm gonna ask you guys to help me out with the next segment of our show.
Very good.
Every month we attempt to do a top 10 list. And this time, I'm gonna give you the, this is unprepared on your part. I'm gonna give you each the top 10 list. Let's go with Mayor Giles, you do the odd number ones. And
okay,
little subliminal reason there.
Commentary on that?
I'm fine
and
with
then
that.
you do the even number ones, Mayor Nichols. Let's do a top 10. Let's do what's the category? The top 10 way that both cities are kind of similar or different, depending on your point of view. Mesa and Yuma. Number 10.
Number 10. Both cities almost had different names. Mesa was almost Hayden, Mesa City, Xenos. I didn't know that. Yuma, this is a long list. Arizona City, Colorado City, Donocio, La Promesa, Concepcion, Pueblo de Concepcion. I don't know how to pronounce that one.
As opposed to the other ones you butchered?
That's come a long way for me.
That's awesome. Okay, very nice. Number 9.
Thank you. Number 9, in ways that we are alike, Mesa and Yuma. Number 9 is both cities have been home to, quote, non-traditional animals. And I think the example that we're citing here from Mesa is the primate research facility that's located on the corners of our town. And in Yuma, apparently there was at one point a camel farm.
There still is a camel.
Still is a camel farm.
Of course there's a camel farm.
So we have primates, they have camels. That's obviously a connection.
No connection between the camel farm and the fine Mexican restaurants.
No, not at all. You might be able to take the camel out.
I said no connection.
Ouch.
People are sick and wrong.
People are sick and wrong.
That's terrible. Shame on you.
Right.
Number 8.
Number 8. Both cities have first-class art facilities. We have the Yuma Art Center, was recently renovated from an old historic building in 2000, and we have the Mesa Art Center.
Mesa Art Center, best world-class facility.
Yuma's having Momo, if you know who that artist is, international artist, is coming in March to do a painting there. That'll be in our art center.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Another similarity. Number 7.
Number 7, both cities have popular river activities. Obviously, apparently there's a river, Colorado River, near Yuma.
Yeah.
Good to know. Mesa, we are the home of the Salt River Recreation Center, and it's a great place to tube down the Salt River.
That's awesome. Number 6.
Both cities have popular outdoor marketplaces. I didn't know this was a thing, and Mayor didn't know this was a thing either. So
apparently it is.
But we have the Arizona Marketplace, and Mesa has the Mesa Marketplace Swap Meet.
That's right.
So you get inexpensive shopping if you...
So see, the next time somebody says, what's there to do in Yuma, boom.
It's generally not on my top 10 list, but to each their own. No judgment.
All right, the mayor will be doing a broadcast
highfalutin mayors. What do they know? Number 5.
Number 5, neither city deals with snow. So that's something that is a good thing.
Yeah, look at the screen there. That's our lovely neighbor to the north, Flagstaff. Have you heard of Flagstaff, Mayor Nichols?
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Number 4.
Number 4, both cities provide easy access to international markets. We have the new Mesa Sky Bridge. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I'm not up on the details.
Absolutely. This is the governor just announced this last week, but this is a huge development that's taking place out at the Mesa Gateway Airport. As we know, the way that we shop now is mainly online, and you're in your pajamas late at night, get on the computer, buy something. The next day, a nice man hands you a cardboard box, and within a few hours, that's the way the economy works now. We're trying to take that economy to Mexico and South America. There's a huge middle class in Mexico that is really wants to participate in that economy. Right now, it's stymied because of customs issues between the two countries. There's been an agreement signed between U.S. Customs and Mexican Customs where we're going to have Mexican Customs officials living and working at Gateway Airport, approving flights that will then go to any of 200 domestic airports in Mexico. So Mesa, Arizona will be the hub of e-commerce activity between the United States and Mexico. It's very exciting.
Awesome.
Congratulations on that. For the Yuma part of this number 4, we have three ports with Mexico within 25 minutes of our city. And we do have an international airport. Obviously, it's not the Sky Bridge. But on our international ports, we've developed a forefront ED. It's a region of the communities in the southwest corner of Arizona, southeast corner of California, and the 2 Mexican states to facilitate trade. Our $3.5 billion ag industry continually accesses across the border from not just labor, but different products and such. So that's part of our international market.
That's awesome.
Great.
Number 3.
Number 3, both cities share the, quote, official vehicle of winter, close quote. So that is a snowbird
that is a land yacht.
Yeah. That looks very nice.
The only variation in Yuma is there's usually a side-by-side or a dune buggy traveling behind there.
That's right. Going to the dunes.
Difference. Yes.
They're all from Mesa.
That's awesome. The number 2 similarity.
Both cities choose creative high school mascots. Mesa has the Jackrabbit. Yuma has the Yuma Criminals, which is my alma mater. So,
How many people thought that was a joke earlier when he said criminal?
Oh,
yeah.
No.
All right, so now
give us a quick
story.
Yeah, tell the story about how you became, not you.
Well, I am. I was a former graduate from Yuma High School. Yuma High School is the oldest high school in the city, and it was playing Phoenix at a football game. I don't know which high school in Phoenix, but we had a gentleman, one of our players intercepted the ball and ran across the field for a touchdown. So the announcer said, well, look at that criminal run. Well, he was alluding back to, we had a fire at our high school, and I don't know if anyone's seen the movie 3:10 to Yuma. Nobody's seen that?
Yes.
Okay, good.
We've all seen it.
I was to say, the thing about the movie, you never get to Yuma in the movie, but where they were going to in that movie was the territorial prison. And so when the high school burnt down, the prison obviously wasn't being used at the time because we were no longer a territory. They moved classes to the prison for a duration because it was the most solid structure and it was not being used. So they had classes there for 2 years. And so that's what the announcer was alluding back to. The name was, after that, adopted. It has been, people from out of town try to change it all the time. People from in town tell you, get back out of town. And about every 5 years, USA Today puts us on the front page of the newspapers, the most odd or creative high school mascot.
Yuma Criminals.
That's it.
Yeah.
We have a proud graduate. Where's Joey McMorris from?
He snuck out.
Oh, Joey snuck out. Well, he's a criminal.
Well,
he made a run for it.
But aren't like the uniforms for the wrestling team or the basketball team, they're like gray and striped, right?
There's been variations of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our mascot is a criminal, obviously, and it's got the striped suit and the big head, and it's a great part of our tradition and the pride of being in Yuma. And I know it sounds odd, but is not looked upon in our community as a negative thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good tradition to it.
Pride. Thank you.
Thank God you don't bow to political correctness on that.
Not at all.
That's awesome. Well, and do you have a similarly entertaining story about the Jackrabbit?
You know, I was actually a Westwood Warrior. My older siblings were Mesa High Jackrabbits, so I do have reverence for the Jackrabbits. But I assume the connection is obvious. Mesa, at one point, had lots of Jackrabbits.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, and the number one, so I'll do the number one. The number one similarity between the cities, both mayors have now been guests on Mesa Morning Live. How about a big round of applause?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Mayor Giles. Good to see you. Big round of applause. Thanks, mayors.
Thank you.
That was cool. I learned more about Yuma in the last 20 minutes than I ever knew. So, and you know what I like about him? The mayor had a good sense of Yuma. Thank you, folks. Good night. I had that, and I go, should I do that? And boy, the bad voice in my head took over. This is exciting. Today's featured guests are a panel of businesses here in Mesa that focus on defense. They're all chamber members and part of the special group called the Mesa Industry and Defense Council. Please welcome to the stage Lisa Brown, Mark Gaspers, and George Graves. Come on up, guys. Good to have you here. Hi, Lisa. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Thank you, sir, for being here. And our other gentleman is being mic'd up right now. They're taking a microphone off a criminal and putting it on our next guest. So, well, tell us, as we wait for our third guest, tell us a little bit about what you guys are up to. And this kind of is a great segue from the previous guests that talk about the defense in Arizona. Lisa, you want to lead us off?
Sure. My name's Lisa Brown, so I'm the site lead for Orbital ATK, located here in Mesa. So we build weapon systems for the Boeing Apache helicopter, as well as the Bradley fighting vehicle, the U.S. Marine Corps light armor vehicle, 500 Navy ships in the U.S. Navy, and also friendly countries. So we're very happy to be here and to be part of the Industry Council with Mark and the rest of the teammates.
Well, that's great. And here he comes. And would you like to take that and run with it also?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us here and the chance to talk about the council. You know, with Boeing, our Mesa site has been in Mesa for 35 years, which is an incredible history that we have with the site there. We're a proud home of the Apache helicopter. We're currently in E-model production, continue to make sure that we have the best attack helicopter for our allied forces and for the U.S. Army. We also build the AH-6I the light attack helicopter for the international market. But you know, while we've been known for the Apache, and it continues to be the strength of our site, we've really become an encapsulation of what's great about the Boeing company across the spectrum of our enterprise. We build fabrication for composite pieces and electrical and metal pieces for parts for platforms across defense and also Boeing commercial aircraft. So next time you're on a commercial aircraft that's a Boeing, part of that may have been built right here in Mesa. Touching on other parts of the innovative approach that we're taking for the future, Boeing is going to build one of the space capsules, the CST-100, that's going to return our astronauts to low Earth orbit. The control panel for that was built right here in Mesa. We have unmanned testing that occurs. We test our aircraft, the Apache and AH-6, of course, but also our Chinook, which is built in Philadelphia. It comes out here to test. So there's a lot of wonderful things that are going on at the site, and we're happy to be here.
That's awesome. And I'll tell you what, if you should come to Aviation Fascination and look at the Apache helicopter. It's a bad machine.
It is.
I hate to throw around technical jargon like that, but
that's a technical term.
It's really an amazing thing, and I can't even imagine being a bad guy and being out in the middle of nowhere and having one of those come over the horizon and hover. How do they not just go, okay, you got me, I'm done?
It's an incredibly intimidating machine.
Yes, it is. And George, welcome. Tell us a little bit about who you are and who you're with.
Mark, I'm George Graves. I work with Gecko in Mesa, and we are an avionics supplier to the U.S. government as well as the Boeing company, including platforms as diverse as Apache. We do a lot of work in the unmanned vehicle space, autonomous control, and we're working with an autonomous aircraft controller for the Army right now.
That's all. Now, when you say gecko, it's not the little lizard guy with the 15 minutes.
No, it's GECO.
GECO, okay.
No.
And what does that stand for?
There's no acronym that was formally associated with it. I would like to refer to it.
I will come up with one in the next 10 minutes.
I'm sure you will. Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome. I'm a giver. Well, this is cool. Now, so this is, I don't think that the average person realizes that so much defense, not only of our country, but around the world, is generated right here in the Valley. It's got to be a huge economic impact. Does anybody like to speak about that?
Well, sure. You look at what's in the Mesa Industry and Defense Council, it's unique because it has the full range of what makes the defense base in the United States. So a prime contractor like the Boeing company, but then the range of other companies such as Gecko, another prime, Orbital ATK, and you get a real feel for the impact that we have. And our supply base in Arizona, if you just look at Boeing alone, for example, we spend $1.3 billion with Arizona suppliers every year. So put that in context, we'd say that the Super Bowl, last Super Bowl that was in Arizona, was $700 million. So you're talking about 2 Super Bowls a year, every year, just in Boeing supply base spend. Wow. So combine that beyond just Boeing into the rest of the Industry and Defense Council, you have a very strong economic impact for Mesa and Arizona.
Well, since you brought up football,
Okay.
With all the defense that we have here, can you do something about maybe loaning some to the Cardinals? I say that because they're not here. Well, that's amazing. So 2 Super Bowls a year just in the economic impact. And Lisa, George, any comparable kind of numbers to throw at us?
Same thing. We spend most of our money with suppliers that are local to the area in Mesa, throughout the Valley of the Sun. Our spend isn't quite as large as the Boeing company, but I would say we probably spend about $300 million a year. Wow. In the local area.
That's a bunch.
And we're over 80% local spend as well, much smaller scale. So,
what's the how long has your company been around in business? I know Boeing's been around for
over 100 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Lisa and George, any?
So the gun business quickly was brought here by Howard Hughes, became McDonnell Douglas. It was bought by Boeing, and then ATK bought the business in 2002. So we have a lot of employees that are former Boeing employees as well. We definitely enjoy being here. We've also grown approximately 50% over the last year.
And George?
We've been strong proponents of the local group lately. So and throughout the organization.
Great. How long?
22 years.
22 years.
Sorry.
Okay, cool. No, that's good. That's awesome. I know nobody has a crystal ball, but what do you see looking forward? Do you see growth? Do you see bigger impacts?
Absolutely. As far as Orbital ATK, I think we're advertising approximately 20 to 30% growth over the next several years per year. So we're, whether it's good for humanity or not, the defense market is doing very well right now. And obviously with Boeing right across the street, we appreciate the business that we do with them as well as the rest of the international primes. And we sell to 38 different countries all over the world, whoever the U.S. government sanctions us to be able to sell to.
That's awesome. Now, in my notes here, it says you had a special visitor that the MIDC had in April of last year.
We did.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
That was very exciting. So Senator John McCain was leading a delegation of other congressmen through the area and touring with General Mark Milley, U.S. Army Chief of Staff. They were looking at defense contractors all over the great state of Arizona, and Senator McCain asked him to come here to meet with the Mesa Industry and Defense Council to see the type of capabilities that we have here in the area. I think one of the things that was most exciting is that all the companies that were involved, and there was approximately 6 companies that did detailed presentations to him, was he left with a clear picture of the fact that there's a lot of defense innovation going on within Mesa, Arizona, and that with our help, he could maintain a strategic, strong, competitive advantage for the U.S. military.
That's awesome. And George, what would you say is a benefit to being a part of this group, the MIDC?
I think the ability to communicate with our elected officials is critical to our businesses. With the budgetary process that goes on in Washington and trying to work at the cutting edge of defense technologies, it's vital that we maintain communications with our elected officials. They drive the funding of our customers. So we help our customers when we can make sure that the elected officials for Arizona know what impact there is locally.
Sure. And Mark, how do large businesses like you guys all work together? Is there some communication involved between Boeing and Gecko, all the companies?
Well, really we're focused on what can we do together that can make Arizona better. So the cost of doing business in Arizona is incredibly strong, but it's a global competition, and the needle's always moving. So how do we continue to make sure that Arizona is cost competitive? And our people, we want to make sure that we have the right talent pipeline for the future, and that's something that we can all work together on because it benefits all of us and it benefits our region.
That's great. And what is Arizona doing right on this? Are we at the forefront of this? I keep hearing these, we're number 49. I'm trying to find something we're really good at.
We are number one recently in aerospace attractiveness for manufacturing. So from that standpoint, our educational system is really strong. We've got a great intern program in our organization with the Arizona State University, as well as the Mesa Public Schools have been a great proponent of us in that regard. So we bring seniors in high school that have an engineering focus in for work opportunities and things like that. So I think there are a lot of things that Arizona is doing right. It enables us as organizations to be able to have the right kind of workforce going forward, and that's key. Cost competitiveness, I think our state overall is doing the right things so that the economy is prosperous enough, and with the legislative environment that we have, we've got a very pro-work state.
That's awesome. You kind of led into this. If somebody's watching at home or somebody here in the audience has a child or grandchild that's engineering kind of wired this way, what can they do to kind of be a good candidate for your businesses?
I'd say, get them exposed early. Events like you mentioned, Aviation Fascination. We're proud to have invested in Mesa Public Schools for many years now. All fifth graders go through the curriculum on the science of flight. We just announced that this year we'll be doing $685,000 in contributions to our local community. Much of that's going to be focused on STEM. We find if you don't get your kids interested by about fifth grade, they may have lost that interest in engineering or aviation or aerospace. So get them exposed early, see the great assets that we have in here in Arizona and across the United States. I asked this, I've got young children, I asked this of our chief engineer, and he said, just sit down with your children and play with Legos and work through it, and it's like an engineering diagram, and so just grab their attention early.
That's awesome. Lisa, why do you think Mesa has become kind of a hub or known for the defense industry?
I think it's very attractive for the defense industry because of the attractive cost of doing business. And again, as my colleagues have said, the talent pool here is very deep and very rich. So the engineers that we hire out of University of Arizona, Arizona State, Embry-Riddle are phenomenal. I think Arizona State also, if I'm not wrong, is #1 in supply chain management in the U.S. So we also have a lot of really strong bench strength and the ability to procure good materials on time, on budget.
That's
excellent.
Awesome. Well, earlier we heard the mayors talking about the little field trip from Mesa to Yuma. Is there anything that you guys are kind of looking forward to from this trip? Any benefits?
I'm looking forward to the fact that Apache depends on the success of Yuma Proving Ground. And so for us to be able to further those ties between our communities, it really helps both of us grow. And then also talk about their innovative approaches, and as we as companies innovate for our customers and for our nations, how we can partner with Yuma to further that.
Yeah, even though they're a military installation, they're looking for opportunities to grow as well. And I think partnerships with companies like all three of ours to let us be aware of what their core capabilities are and how we can best partner with them. For example, I would love to bring visitors from 38 different countries all over the world down to see what our weapon systems are capable of, and that would be a perfect place to do it.
Seems to me if we brought leaders from all around the world, all countries, to see what we're capable of doing defensively, it would calm down a lot of these wars. Just a thought, Really? Do you really want to go up against this guy? Yeah, you're right. What do I sign?
Then we can switch to pool supplies.
Yeah. I like it. Mark, have you ever, is one of the benefits of Boeing, have you ever been able to ride around in an Apache helicopter?
I have not. I'm still waiting for that, so maybe someday.
Wow. Have you ever sang at the Vatican?
No.
trying to draw some common ground here. Well, that's awesome. So, you know what? I think we've got a couple of minutes, and I know we've got a lot of inquiring minds out here in the audience. We'll get a microphone ready. If anybody's got a question for any of these folks, raise your hand, and we'll get a microphone to you. What do you see looking ahead? What's to come? Are there new weapons on the horizon?
Well, at least I would say what's to come for this group. You know, what's innovative is that we're reaching out beyond the borders of Mesa, beyond the borders of the Phoenix metro area, and developing this partnership with Yuma. I think appreciate Senator's leadership on that point, and Sally and the chamber. We can't succeed if we're going to stovepipe and not reach out and collaborate and develop a network within this state. States that do a good job are ones that don't draw artificial lines in the sand. And so I think this group really has an opportunity to really be the driver for Arizona collaborating across all metro areas in the state.
It's very interesting to us also as a team that we get a lot of questions about, well, don't you compete with each other? A lot of the different members of the team. And the answer is yes, we compete with each other, but that's not what we talk about in our meetings. We talk about how to grow the bench strength within the local community, the talent pool. We talk about how we can collaborate, how we can get the right messages to our officials, and they can reach into one organization to ask us probing questions on defense-related things and not call each of us individually. And thanks to Sally, who spearheaded the whole thing with Senator McCain.
Yeah,
we
great idea.
That.
That's our Sally. Once again, I'll open it up if anybody's got a question. Yes. Oh, look at this. I know this guy. We've got a question from the mayor. Hang on, we're getting a microphone over to you.
Thank you. Lisa, when is a good time to come visit, and we'll make sure we get that set up for you?
Anytime. Just
all right. Well, then I'm open March 30th. If that's good, we'll get that rolling for you.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you.
I have another question that just came to me from a audience member. Can commanders fly in Apaches? In other words, if somebody's a really big shot, do they get to fly in Apache?
I would defer that question to the United States Army.
Okay. Because the questioner said maybe Sally would qualify.
There you go.
And a lot of times she runs late to meetings, so if you could maybe haul her in some kind of a Uber Apache. There's a business idea. That would be awesome. Can you imagine getting a pizza in 3 minutes? That'd be awesome.
Again.
Any other questions? And raise your hand, and we'll make sure we get a microphone to you. Otherwise, I'll just go down the line here, let you say a few words. Anything you'd like to impart on these people? Keep in mind, not just here, but also at home. Lisa, go ahead and...
The only thing I would ask is continue to support your veterans organization. The Mesa Veterans Resource Center here is fantastic. Obviously, Orbital ATK is a large supporter of that as well. And we really need to help our fine veterans. They've done a lot for us.
Yes, I think that's an understatement. And Mark?
I'd just say that we're very grateful. This has been a very strong community that understands the importance of the mission that we all have. When you have the customer come in, whether it's the United States Army or our allied nations, and talk about the impact of what each of our employee does every day, it gives you a new sense of purpose. But what's been wonderful is that with efforts like the Chamber and echoing on the points on veterans, is that's not just held within the walls of our company. That is true of Mesa. And so that's, I think, has made us so successful over these years.
That's great. And George?
And I'm going to echo what Mark said there and expand on it in the point that being able to work directly with the warfighters in the field is crucial. I think it's something that Mesa does very well. And I do appreciate all the community support we get from the elected officials through the chambers and even shows like yours, Mark.
Oh, yes.
Thank
well,
you.
This is a huge part of every company's business is being on Mesa Morning Live. Do you guys do any kind of, if somebody wanted to tour your facilities, is there such a thing as that? I should have asked this question before. Is there a field trip to go to Boeing? Can people come in other than aviation fascination?
So that's probably the best opportunity at the defense facility. We don't have open tours, although we do have Boeing store, and so, you know, let me know, and we can set that up and come on in. And then obviously a lot of our other sites, more commercial focused, welcome the opportunity to bring folks around to those.
That's awesome, and thank you so much. And by the way, Mayor Giles said something earlier. Mayor's still here. The Skybridge thing is awesome. I think that's, there is nothing better than, like you said, shopping in your pajamas. I love that. Walmart hates it when I do it, but I'm not sure why I snuck that stupid joke in. Well, you know what? We couldn't help but know. Did you drive here today, Lisa?
I did.
And Mark?
Yes.
And George?
Yes.
Well, we've had reports that we had 3 dirty vehicles out in the parking lot from you guys. And so as a thank you from one of our favorite sponsors, Cobblestone Auto Spa, we'd like to, and you all live in the Valley, we'd like to give you can pass these down. This is a $100 detail gift card from Cobblestone that you can take your vehicles in. I'm pretty sure they'd probably even do the Apache if you want to take that in. Take it to your local Cobblestone, which, by the way, Cobblestone's springing up right and left. So there's one in your neighborhood. If not, wait till next week. There will be. Take your vehicles in, get them detailed, and that's our little thank you, and Cobblestone's thank you for being such a big part of today's show. So thank you. Any going once, going twice? Any last question? Oh, here we got a question.
Each one of you have mentioned 20, 30% growth. What does that mean for the workforce needs? Kind of a two-part question as far as the Skybridge as well. We've heard thousands of jobs in the Mesa-Gilbert area. What is the immediate impact of the Skybridge? Is it thousands or is it hundreds? That's supposed to be in 2 years, right?
You know, we'll run the microphone back to Mayor. Take it easy, Mayor. I know you got a bad foot.
Thank you. If you saw the governor's announcement last week, the number 17,000 jobs is related to this. Of course, that's over decades. This is literally 360 acres adjacent to the Gateway Airport. So immediately, in like 30 days from now, you will start to see activity. The Mexican customs officials will be there. You'll start to see some construction projects in the very near future. But this is something that is the future that's going to unfold for this facility over the course of 20 years. Thank you.
That's great. Well, I'd like to, once again, I'd like to thank our guests, Lisa Brown, Mark Gaspers, and George Graves, for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing, and keep up the good work. And with that, I'll turn you loose. Go get your cars washed.
Thank you, Mark.
And come back next month. Sit tight. I'll just dismiss the whole class. You've been a really good class today. I'll let you out early. Just be safe on the roads. Make it your goal to go out and have a great day. And let's make 2018 just a fabulous year. And let's see you every second Friday of every month right here at Mesa Morning Live. I'd like to thank all the nonprofits at the tabletops back there. Once again, thank you for Crescent Crown Distributing for hosting this fun event. You guys do it great. Thanks to what the hell? Thanks to What the Hell. It's just fun to say. Thanks to What the Hell for a great breakfast. You guys, thank you very much for making this what it is. And if you want to see past episodes, go to the website and check them out. Otherwise, we'll see you February 9th at the next Mesa Morning Live. Thanks so much. Thanks, guys. Great job. Great job.